It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer, and I'm super excited to bring you today's beer. Let's put the pint jug to the side ready. German pint mug. This is Kulmbacher Export. 500 milliliter bottle, dark brown bottle, gold bottle cap with a Kulmbacher label on the top. This beer is coming in at 5.4% ABV in a 500 milliliter bottle. Without further ado then, let's get this beer out into a glass and see what we get. Export, well, we can talk about that in a moment. Nice bit of smoke on the bottle opening. Beer in the glass. Oh, look at this. Yes, look at this. We have a one finger white head. Good levels of carbonation in the glass. It's I wouldn't say it's completely straw coloured. It's on its way to becoming amber, but it looks absolutely and fantastic in the glass. It really does. Let's get the aroma then on the beer. Oh, yes, smells fantastic. Hoppy, herbal, spicy, peppery, biscuity and bready. The beer is available from our channel sponsors beersofeurope.co.uk. Beers of Europe, the largest online beer store in the UK with a fabulous range of beers from all over the world. If you love your beer, you've been away working, you've been on holiday, and you found that perfect beer, that beer that you think, oh, I'd love to find that in the UK. The best place to find that beer would be beersofeurope.co.uk. So have a look in the description box of the video. There's a link to their website. And off we go with the beer review then. So, yeah, I'm really excited for this one. The more and more I drink German beer, the more and more I want to pack up, sell the house and move to Germany. It's just a wonderful, wonderful experience. The beers are absolutely fantastic. I'm a big fan of the Reinheitsgebot, the German purity law. It just restricts all of that adjunct-y stuff that goes into, unfortunately, a lot of British beer these days. Marshmallow, porters, and it's just a real shame, isn't it? It's just a real shame. But you know, if you've got the ways about you to maybe want to drink this style of beer and not drink a marshmallow porter, then you can, can't you? There's lots of websites selling great quality German beer. Aroma then. Yeah, the aroma is fantastic. As I mentioned earlier, peppery, spicy, herbal, light, kind of biscuity, bready malts coming through. It smells fantastic. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Oh. Yes, 5.4% ABV. Oh, it's delicious. It really is delicious. Carbonation pushes the beer round the inside of the mouth, releases more of that flavour. It's lovely and hoppy, spicy, peppery, very drinkable as well. It's a very drinkable beer. very refreshing at 5.4% ABV. A proper decent beer this. Decent beer. Fine carbonation, you see that fine carbonation rising up the glass. You can feel that kind of fine carbonation as you're drinking the beer. You can feel it on the tongue. There's no indication whatsoever that you're drinking a beer at 5.4% ABV. There's no alcohol kick. There's no real warming. It's a very well brewed beer. I think the only indication that you would get is that kind of 5.4% ABV is that you get it in like the slightly creamy, rich mouthfeel in the beer. Slightly creamy, slightly rich, more kind of like body, if you like. More body to the beer than a, say, like a 4.5% ABV beer. You definitely get that kind of 1% ABV more, because what they need to do to get it to 5.4% ABV is to add more malt to the brew. You're adding more malt, you're effectively adding more sugar. That sugar is being eaten by the alcohol, eaten by the yeast, sorry, and pooped out into alcohol. But it's decent. It's more than decent. It's Stone the Crows. Stone the Crows. What a beer. So export beer. There's a couple of things that I think most people, especially of a generation, maybe not the younger generation, because it wasn't really a thing for the younger generation, but if you're like me, mid-40s and above, I think if you see export beer, you immediately think strong. That's what generally kind of like in my earlier days of reviewing beer, when I was still learning, when I was still wet behind the ears, you would see an export beer, and the export would mean strong. Well, just look at Carlsberg export. You've got your regular Carlsberg, haven't you, in the green glass bottles, green cans. What is it, 3.5%? Carlsberg export, on the other hand, is about, last time I looked, 4.8% ABV. So it offers up it's almost, the word export in beer almost has this kind of like extra sign of quality, if that makes sense. The beer's going to be stronger, it's going to be better. But there's another thing with export beer, is that you had these export breweries in Germany that were essentially, they were great, they were ruling the roost in German brewing back in the 1800s. Ruling the roost. They were called export breweries because they would produce strong beer, and they would literally export it all over the world. So this export style of beer is synonymous then with good quality beer that's been brewed to be sent all over the world, from Germany, and of course, pardon me, Carlsberg with their Danish connections. Carlsberg export. So what am I getting at here? The reason why you don't see these breweries so much anymore, these great big export breweries, is because Pilsner become a thing in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And we didn't have the internet back then. Or they didn't have the internet back then. So companies like Warsteiner, Kulmbacher, they started producing this Pilsner style of beer, and they started selling it in big volume, and they were growing, they're becoming bigger and bigger. And because news never traveled so fast years ago, by the time they hit like great big volume, Warsteiner and Kulmbacher producing their pills, and of course other breweries, it was too late. it was too late for the export breweries of the time. They were too slow to move. They were too slow to do anything about these Pilsner breweries. They didn't see these young upstarts, these young Pilsner breweries as a threat. Didn't see them as a threat whatsoever until it was too late. They still exist. They do still exist. Look, we're drinking one now. We are drinking one now. But they're nowhere near the scale as they once were. So that's a little bit of a history then behind companies like Kulmbacher and their export beer. That can be said in any industry though, couldn't it? You could look at the car industry, couldn't you? You could look at Ford, GM. Didn't really kind of take Tesla serious until Tesla started hitting their kind of like bottom end. And then all of a sudden these big petrol guzzling car companies, they thought, oh, hang on a minute, we should start producing battery powered vehicles. And, you know, more or less too late though, isn't it? Tesla, when you think of an electric vehicle, you think of Tesla. And this is what happened with Warsteiner and Krombacher. If you thought of great German lager, great German Pilsner, you thought of Warsteiner and Krombacher back in the day. So I'm going to rate this one. Very, very good beer. Stone the Crows, 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.